Hello, everybody, and welcome to No Waffle GCSE. We're doing our geography actual night before the exam live. So yesterday's live was, I initially thought that the exam was today, so that's why that says night before, but I need to really change that title. In that live, we went through all of the predicted topics. So that was more of a content live, going through all of the content. And then in this live, we are now going over all of the exam questions, and it'll be more exam question practice. Okay, I hope your exams went well. For those of you who did Spanish and history, I hope they went well. I'm also going to stream on TikTok, so give me a second to set that up. But yeah, we'll be going through past papers in this live. Hello, everybody. All the predicted topics were covered in the previous stream from yesterday. If you want to go and watch that, this stream is going to be going through loads of exam questions, as many as we can. So that's how that is working. You can easily access yesterday's live stream. If one of the mods could put that link in the chat, that would be great. I'm good, thank you, Salvador. I hope you guys are good as well. How are your exams going? This is specifically for AQA, and of course there'll be a Kahoot. 100% there has to be. But just in case you weren't here yesterday, I will show you guys actually the predicted topics list that I made. These are going to be past questions, past paper questions, and specifically for the AQA board. This live will, I mean, I always say it's going to be an hour, but it tends to be longer than that because we do our revisions. So hopefully it's an hour, and then maybe Kahoot will extend to like 20 more minutes. The predicted topics came from somebody who sent a predicted paper. So I went through those topics and went over those. Okay. Also, for those of you who obviously you're all doing geography paper 3, make sure you check out the video that I released. It contains everything, including fieldwork statistics that you need to know. So I would recommend going to watch that. Okay, and I should be streaming on TikTok now as well. Let me get up the papers. How would you like to go over the past papers? Would you like to go over them oldest first or newest first in terms of geography AQA paper 2? Very good structure techniques for 9-mark and 6-mark questions. To be fair, there's not a lot of structure behind those type of questions. It's really just about looking at having one paragraph for, one paragraph against, and that's pretty much it. There's not too much to it, really. Oldest first or newest first? Okay, most people seem to be saying newest, so we'll probably do it that way. Okay. So we'll start from the 2022 paper. Oldest. Now people are saying oldest. Okay, you know what? I'll do a YouTube poll to see what you guys want to do. So you can go onto the community tab and I'll post a question. It will be what do you want to do? And you can choose one of the options. I feel like it's going to be an even split, but we'll see. If somebody could link that in the chat, that would be great. Thank you, Jude, for that. And V1, of course, as well. This paper is more about application, I would argue. Okay, so most people in the thing have said oldest first. So we'll go over the oldest past papers first, if that is the case. So let's start by looking at 2018. We actually already did do the 2018 paper already over half term, but I don't know how many of you guys were actually in that live, so it kind of depends. I'll also open up the mark scheme. Should we start from 2019? Let's start from 2019 then, because I know a lot of you were in that live. And we'll be doing Kahoot at the end, so make sure you guys join that. So let's begin. For those of you who are just joining, I would recommend watching the previous live where we go through predicted topics, and this one will just be exam question based. So let's go through these. Okay, and remember, often in GCSE geography, they do the thing where they do figures right at the bottom of the page, and a lot of people actually forget that they can't see it. So remember to always look at the bottom of the page. That's a common mistake that they find. So we've got a figure. Study figure 1, a graph showing the average annual urban growth rates for selected African countries. Okay, so what is this showing? You've got average growth, and then you've got all of the Egyptian countries, you've got natural increase, you've got migration, and those are the two bits of urban growth. Now, this was one of the predicted topics, I believe, so important you pay attention here. Okay. So let's look at the question for this. Use the following data to complete figure 1. So you've got Central African Republic. So this is literally about drawing on the graph and using the key that's given to you. It's quite straightforward, so I'm not going to necessarily answer that. Okay, so the next question, outline one reason why rates of natural increase are high in many cities in low-income countries or newly emerging economies. It would be great if you guys could also answer the question whilst, hello everybody who's here, hello Niyati, answering the question in the chat, and I'll try and look at as many as possible so you guys can see that. So, outline one reason why rates of natural increase are high in many cities. So there's different possible things you could say. You can say there is a younger population. As we spoke about in yesterday's live, a lot of people who are migrating to the cities, rural to urban migration, are the younger population because they're looking for job opportunities. So the younger population it's more probable for them to have children and, reproduce. That's one mark there. So the population is younger, saying that is one mark. And then the second point, so it's more probable to have children, that's another mark. On top of that, you can say, perhaps another point you could say is there's better healthcare facilities. And then that's your first mark. And then to develop that point, you can say, so there are less, or the rate, or the infant mortality rate is lower, or you can say the healthy births are higher, the birth rate is higher. The successful births, which is a good thing. Well done, everybody answering. Lack of contraception. You could say that, but then cities are supposed to be much more developed, so that wouldn't necessarily be a good point, but good for bringing that up. I'm glad you did. Moving on to the next question. Give one way in which a major city in a low-income country or newly emerging economy is internationally important. So most of you probably study Lagos. That would be the most common one there. And what is its method for being internationally important? Well, internationally, you should know Lagos is the main financial center for West Africa. Or especially during 2019, this was the case, but not so much now. Another point you could say is if you do Mumbai, you can talk about how this is the home of Bollywood. You can talk about the Indian film industry. So that is the mark scheme. They only have those 2 points there, which is quite interesting because I feel like there's a lot of ways that these two places are internationally important. Rio hosted the World Cup, so you can say that, but then hosting the World Cup might have been only a small period of time. So if you want to give a good point to talk about that, you might want to say overall Rio is responsible internationally for providing a lot of cattle or providing a lot of rainforest deforestation, wood logging, etc. Okay. Next question. So study figure 2 maps and information about the Kendal Industrial Park in Java, Indonesia. Okay, well, it's not on the page, so we're going to just have to answer this question without using the figure, unfortunately. Well done to everybody answering in the chat. You guys are doing amazing. Okay, so what is the key content? So explain how urban industrial areas help to encourage development. Can you use Bradford for your case study for urban regeneration? Yes, you can. Okay, so what points can we say? Well, you can talk about, again, you're asked about a specific low-income country or newly emerging economy. But you can also, the mark scheme also allows you to mention a high-income country. So this is much more broader. So when they're asking, or because I guess there's no actual example being asked about, so they're not going to be picky on what you choose because they're not asking for an example. But you don't have to choose one, but because it's a 6 mark, I would recommend you put it in. So Lagos would be a good example. Now, urban industrialized areas, how does that encourage development? So urban areas. Firstly, you can talk about transport links. Okay, so they're going to be really well connected. You can give some examples, whether it's rail or ports, especially in Mumbai, if you talk about that. So the location is going to be well connected. Urban industrial areas are going to be well located, a very central location, so that they can access those different parts and also encourage both national and international trade. And then if you really want to spell it out to the examiner, you can say, therefore, by encouraging national and international trade, it's encouraging more expenditure, more economic benefits. I can't show you the predicted paper because it's not my predicted paper, it's somebody else's. So that would be copyright. Otherwise I would have, of course I would have. So what else can we say now? Transport links. I'm looking at the mark scheme and they've literally only discussed transport links. But so I'm trying to see how urban industrial areas encourage development. You can talk about how there's high employment opportunities because of, especially there's loads of jobs in like areas such as manufacturing. There's lots of cheap labor because of the high volume. If you think about all of the transnational corporations settling there, especially in these newly emerging economies. For example, if you consider Shell in Lagos, that's a good example. There's lots of employment opportunities, lots of infrastructure. There's a lot of, on top of that, there's a lot of investment into the economy. So, i.e., buying up capital, buying up machinery, things like that, that will improve the job opportunities. And on top of that, if they're improving the roads so that perhaps they could transport materials much more faster, they're also improving the standard of living for the locals as well. Okay. Lagos is not a country in Africa. Lagos is a city in Nigeria. Thank you. So, okay. I would recommend everybody come to YouTube. It's such a better vibe in YouTube than TikTok because I can't really see your comments. What else can we say? That's pretty much it. Let's now move on to the next one. I guess because if we had access to the figure, we would be able to answer that in a much better way. Map skills. Study figure 3. A 1:25,000 ordnance survey map showing part of Liverpool, a city in the UK. Areas X and Y show 2 areas of urban regeneration. So both of these areas have been regenerated. So there were probably brownfield sites, maybe they were derelict, there was a lot of dumping and just destruction, perhaps deprived areas especially, and they've been regenerated via lots of investment. So what is the approximate area covered by area Y? So let's look at this. We've got all of them in kilometers and they're relatively small. So we've got, I guess you would kind of use your ruler probably. So you've got your scale here. So you would probably measure this and then use that to like compare it to the scale here. 1 to 25,000, so 4 centimeters to 1 kilometer. So measure it and then you'll be able to convert it. And the answer was, I guess you probably wouldn't have been able to do it, but the answer was this one here, 0.1 kilometers. Well done, everybody who did a lot of practice. How long will this be? This will probably be until 8:15 we'll go over papers, and then at 8:15 we'll probably do a Kahoot. Give the 4-figure grid reference for the Albert Dock. So let's find Albert Dock. I guess people who've studied Liverpool as a case study would probably find this a lot easier to do. So I'm trying to see where it is. Here it is. So Albert Dock is here. So the 4-figure grid reference. They won't necessarily repeat questions, but the topic, going through past paper for geography is more about learning the style of questions, learning how to answer them, as opposed to like what could come up. That's why if you want a live that talks about what topics could come up, you can watch the live I did yesterday about the predicted topics. Okay, so this one you can see for the 4-figure grid reference, i.e. what's going to happen is you'll get 2 figures from this bottom x-axis, and then you're going to get 2 figures from this y-axis here. So it's between 34 and 35. So it's really close to 34, so you put 34, and then your last 2 numbers, it is between 89 and 90. So it's okay, and it's 89 and 90, so the mark scheme credits 3489 as your answer. Well done to everybody who answered that correctly. Okay, I need to switch my laptop on charge. 1 second. Why isn't it 90? That's a good question. Well, because I always wondered this in geography, but I noticed in the mark schemes it always seems to be going towards the lower one. I guess Albert Dock is here, and you could say that's closer to 90, but because the Albert Dock is more this entire area rather than just that part there, so it's including this bit here as well. Oh, I can't use my pen here. So because it's kind of long here, it's more 89. For example, 90 means everything from this point and above. So 89 is everything above. So because it doesn't pass over the 90 mark, it's going to be within the 89 boundary. Okay, and 6-figure grid reference is a good question. That's pretty much the same thing. So in this case, you have an extra number at the bottom and an extra number at the top, and it will be totally 6 numbers. Okay, so we've done that. Describe the location of area X. So what is area X? I guess you've got to use your north, south, your compass direction. So you've got area X here. So what things could you say? Well, it's always good to refer to it in terms of a map in reference to the city centre. So the city centre is probably around here. So using your northeast, southwest skills, it seems to be southeast to the city centre. So you get a mark for saying that. Another thing you could say, another point that you could make is that it is approximately 2 kilometers east of the river. So anywhere where you are linking it to another place, that's quite important. How do you know that that's a city centre? Well, I mean, city centre is always in the centre of the city. A good tip is they tend to always have churches in the centre of the city. You've got a cathedral to show that's just how they're placed. And it seems a little bit more obvious here because you can see that there's a lot of transport, these pink roads all surrounding that city centre. It would make sense. Okay. We're now moving on to the next part. So imagine this is still question 1 and it's 8 pages long. This is mainly for AQA. So for those of you asking whether it's for Edexcel, it depends. But by the way, the people on TikTok, I can't really see what you're saying because I'm on the YouTube live as well. So come to YouTube if you want me to answer your questions. Okay. There are 3 sections, but for section C, you only answer one of them. Study figure 4, showing some information about area X and some photographs of area Y. So both of these areas have been urban regenerated. Area X, Granbury 4 streets, houses renovated for affordable rent and low-cost ownership, derelict houses turned into an indoor garden with glass roofs, monthly street market, regeneration scheme won the Turner Prize for Art. Now explain how regeneration can help to solve urban problems. So this is quite obvious because you would have learnt it, you would have done it in your field work, you would have done it as a case study. So whether you did Liverpool, whether you did Stratford Olympic Park, no matter where you did, it would be quite easy to apply this. So things you can say, and also make sure you reference figure 4. So looking at figure 4, what can we discuss? Well, you can see that you've got before and after regeneration. So there seems to be, the roads seem to be a lot more smoother. The pavement is redone, so there's less footpath erosion. So you can see that there's been a lot of investment into the public resources there. There's also a lot less more litter, so it's much more clean. So your main point that you could talk about from figure 4 is that there's been renovation, cleaning, recycling, more sustainable. As you can see, there's less litter, any of those possible things. Although you could argue that why there are less trees, which is quite interesting. I don't know why they would do that. Like, why would you get rid of the trees? Maybe because the roots were upturning the pavement or something like that. Urban greening, okay. So some points that you can make outside of referencing figure 4, how regeneration can help to solve urban problems. We've got to think, okay, what urban problems exist currently? Well, you've got to think crime, maybe lack of education. So crime, education as in they tend to have GCSE results being lower. Other problems, I guess, environmental or just things being deprived and destroyed community resources. So how does urban regeneration help to improve this? Well, with crime, they seem to reduce crime by investing in socially community spaces so that there are alternatives to doing that. There are more resources you can reach out to as a prime, and also by investing in education, there are links to reducing the number of students who go into crime, because they often do it as that they cannot do education and take that path, so they must take another path. How do they improve education? They do increased funding to schools. They also create a lot of sports centres, and economically speaking as well, because these deprived areas often, another issue is that they are economically underfunded in that they need more businesses to start making all of that money. So they encourage businesses by perhaps opening up massive hotels like they did in Liverpool, a £10 million hotel they spent in order to do that. Okay, and what else does it say on the mark scheme? They say you can talk about a range of urban problems, low cost rent and ownership. That's important as well. Yet that's something also you can relate to the figure. That's interesting because it's not as explicit when you see the picture. It just shows like housing, but you can talk about how the housing is more affordable. Maybe subsidies are put into place, and this addresses problems of lower income. And also through the houses being renovated, you can discuss how there's a better standard or quality of life. So for this question, you will talk about the areas which you learned which were regenerated. So whether this was Liverpool, which ironically is actually what the question is asking about specifically with the photos, or whether it's about Stratford, whether you learnt about that, or whatever place you learnt about. Some people did lots of different areas. Miss, when referencing the figure, when it's a quote, how to put that into your answer? Literally use quotation marks and say as reference, as figure 4 suggests, blah, blah, blah. That's a good question. Yeah, most cities, that's a good point. Most cities have very much similar kind of problems. So it's quite easy to kind of pick one and remember it. It's not too much. Do you need statistics? For your case studies, it would be a good idea. For your examples, it's less important. But for your case studies, make sure you know some figures, some sorts of data. Wow, there's a lot of you guys on here. It's nice to see you here. Complete the following fact file for a UK city that you have studied. Okay, so name of the UK city, location in the UK, importance in the UK. So again, whether you spoke about Liverpool, whether you spoke about Stratford, so put some points here, Liverpool, or if you learn about Stratford, or pretty much any city that initially experienced urban deprivation. There was a lot of deprived areas, and then it turned into these brownfield sites were transformed by investment of governments and things like football clubs into much more better areas, much more sustainable through urban greening, urbanization. Everybody has more equal access. Can you make up your figures? Well, I wouldn't suggest doing that, but if you have to do what you have to do. So if you're in that situation, try and make it as believable as possible. Don't really go too broad there, but don't start your whole exam and make up every figure. At least learn some credible ones so that it makes it seem much more believable. So try and remember as much as you can. Okay, the location in the UK. So that obviously depends on where you're doing that, and the importance in the UK. So you need to talk about the regional importance. So you can talk about how Liverpool is important for the cultural arts, or you can talk about how it was really important for the manufacturing sector. They've got lots of ports there. So globalization, it's really integral to help trade occur. To what extent has urban change created social and economic opportunities in a UK city that you have studied? Again, it's probably going to be the same city that you've been mentioning this entire time. I don't know why they keep asking you to name it, but what you wanted to do. Thank you for everybody sharing the live. That is very kind of you to do that. I'm just checking the different lives. Give me a second, everybody. My internet's dipping in and out, so I want to make sure that there's a good connection. Okay, so, yep. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you everybody for being patient. We're going back to this, so continuing on. If you spell a place wrong, for instance, this express train place in Kenya, will you get marked down? Well, I guess the examiner will probably be more lenient if it were more foreign areas that are more difficult to pronounce. But if it's a UK city, they'll probably be a bit annoyed, but they're not going to necessarily restrict you through marks unless it shows that you have a real big lack of understanding. Okay, so let's talk about one that we can say. So some points we can make for this. To what extent has urban change created social and economic opportunities? So you can say, splitting your answer up into social. So social opportunities, there's more community or communal areas and activities. For example, in Liverpool, they spent a lot of money on sports centres being regenerated. This can cultivate a passion for sports, for football, getting more people encouraged into that. Also, with Liverpool, there's a lot of emphasis on the arts and drama. The Cahoots will start at 8:15. Okay, on top of that, with urban change, in terms of cities, you need to think also of migration. Because of loss of migration, people migrate in cities because they want to capture those job opportunities. So they're going to experience a lot of multicultural food and ethnicities. Cultures become more well-rounded. Festivals as well, for example, the Notting Hill Festival. There's, in terms of economic opportunities, while there's loads, there's going to be much more employment opportunities as there's development into infrastructure. For example, if you think about the £10 million hotel in Liverpool, that clearly would generate a lot of employment opportunities for the youth, for everybody who lives there, for the locals, and therefore it reduces the fact that a lot of people who live in those areas are on lower incomes. You can talk about this is for the regeneration project. So if you want to mention the Anfield regeneration project, that will be the Liverpool one. You can talk about the Olympic Park regeneration project if you also wish to do that. But other things we can say in terms of economic opportunities, it's better for local businesses, supporting them rather than relying on, large national corporations such as Temu. I think you guys are experiencing a lot. It's actually much more better for the UK economy if the local businesses are thriving. Yep, a key term that you want to mention is the positive multiplier effect. Well done, Jude. So Jude said, London, Chinatown, Brick Lane promotes culture, having positive social impact on London, invites new cultures and tourists, positive multiplier effect. So the multiplier effect is effectively how, if you invest money into a business, for example, if the government decides to spend £1 million making a factory, then that's going to employ everybody, all of the construction workers who are making that factory. They then get an income. They then are going to spend that income on other goods and services. They are then contributing to other parts of the economy. So it's a multiplier effect. That initial investment is causing a huge amount of development further down the line. Yes, tourism as well. So especially if you're looking at Liverpool and London as well. There's more tourists being attracted to those areas because they are more looked after. These urban projects are much better. And another key important thing that we can also mention is environmental benefits. I know it's asking us to go through the lens of social and economic, but we can say that because there's a better environment, there's a correlation. I don't know if you studied this in geography, between the amount of nature that you live around or you work around and the amount of work ethic. Furthermore, you can also mention how with a better environment, there's going to be less wastage, and yeah, just generally a lot of things. So, yeah, you can mention Bristol in this 100% if you learnt that. You can pretty much, use the multiplier effect in any question. It is very applicable. Okay. We're now on to section B of this 2019 paper. The Changing Economic World. Study Figure 5, a scale showing gross national income and birth rate for selected countries in 2016. So draw a line of best fit on the figure. So I don't have a ruler, so this is going to be quite rough, but something like that. There's a good line of best fit is when there's an equal amount of points on the left-hand side as there is on the right-hand side. Okay. Japan is in stage 5 of the demographic transition model. This is one of the topics that I predicted, or that one of the other people from whoever made the paper predicted would come up, and is a highly developed country. Explain this statement. So what does that mean? What is a demographic transition model? What does it mean? So the demographic transition model effectively shows the population structure as economies develop. So I'll try and find a good picture for you guys. So you can see this demographic transition model here. That is a good example of what it is. As you can see, you've got the different stages. So you start from stage 1 and go all the way to stage 5 in most cases. And as you go across the stages, the larger the number, the more developed an economy is. So what happens is initially you have a high birth rate and high death rate because of the lack of contraceptives and lack of, healthcare, cleanliness, and also high birth rate, as women don't tend to have jobs, so they tend to just become mothers at a young age. And then as you continue, what happens is the birth rate declines as you then have access to those healthcare resources. The death rate declines because the healthcare is much better, so people's length of life increases, and then eventually you can even get a declining population, or a population where you've got an elderly aging population as well. Yes, that's a good point. People also want their children to do agricultural work. So in those economies which are focused on primary income, they are going to be earning less. So poorer countries like agriculture, they look for manpower. So they're going to have as many children as possible. So, going back to our paper now, Japan is in stage 5 of the demographic transition model and is a highly developed country. Explain the statement. So what you can say is that with Japan, and I think that's going to be given on the diagram. So you can see Japan has a really high GNI and a really low birth rate. So they've already given that it has a really low birth rate. So what you want to say is Japan has got a high gross national income. Low birth rate, which is signs of a very developed economy, very advanced, because of the negative correlation between the GNI and the birth rate. So the birth rate falls as the DTM progresses, which generally happens alongside economic growth. So as people become wealthier, they realize that they don't need to have so many children, as the mortality is also lower, as the infant mortality rate is lower because there's more likeliness of surviving as well. So again, there's fewer children born. So there's multiple reasons you can talk about. You can talk about how the healthcare is more advanced, or you can talk about how there's just less need for it because they're not focused on a primary economy, and also the cost of living is much more expensive. Next, outline how one historical factor can lead to uneven development. So, anything here from, you can talk about war, colonization. So the colonizers countries, they are going to be much more better off because they have profited and benefited from exploiting other countries and economies. On top of that, you can say if there's past wars, if the country has experienced loads of wars during their kind of life, then they will be worse off because a lot of their resources are going towards warfare, which effectively is pointless because after it's being used, it's just a cost and it's just causing destruction. Okay, this paper seems to be quite useful because a lot of the topics that have been predicted to come up are in this paper. So I would recommend 2019 as a good paper to look at. So you could talk about colonization, like colony countries, e.g. UK, how they've benefited more, and you can talk about wars. But again, it's only 2 marks, so you just need 1 mark for naming it, and then the other mark for explaining how that has caused uneven development, how that has caused inequality. So colony countries, for example, in the UK, they've exploited other economies and then they have profited from them by taking their earnings, so that's caused uneven development. Explain how fair trade can reduce the development gap. It's lovely to see so many of you guys interacting in the chat. So, fair trade reducing the development gap. What is fair trade? Firstly, well, fair trade is effectively an attempt in order to redistribute the income disparities which are unfair, i.e., the people that are working, producing the goods should get the majority of the goods, not the middleman, not the people who are distributing it. So, explain how fair trade can reduce the development gap. You kind of are being asked to explain how fair trade works. So you can say there are fair prices for normally the richer or the wealthier consumer in order to redistribute the wealth to the poorer, worse off individuals. Okay, on top of that, let's see what else you can say. I'm going to try and leave gaps between them so you can see. So fair trade means that farmers in the lower income countries are paid a fair price. And because they are paid a fair price for their goods, that means that they have a higher income for supporting their families. And if they have a high income, that means that they will no longer suffer from poverty. Increasing individual farmer income means they will no longer be poor. Improvements can then be made. They can then invest that extra income, perhaps into education, into healthcare, so they can move up into the secondary or even the tertiary sector rather than the primary sector. Because notice how the primary sector products, the raw materials, they are a lot cheaper than the final finished products that the more Western countries create. Okay. We've got another map question. Here you've got the 6-figure grid reference. It's good we have this. Okay, I'm going to leave this up for a minute and hopefully you guys can answer it and see what you will put. As we went through the 4-figure, so you should be able to now find the 6-figure. Try and put it in the chat and I'll see if you guys are correct. I know, why are there so many maps in the same paper? That's a good question. If you don't know how to do a 6-figure reference, don't worry, I will be going through it. I just want you to try and answer this question. So if you can, what is the question? Let's see. Using figure 6, give the 6-figure grid reference for the center of the motorway junction. So I'm trying to make it as open as possible. I can see Rami has got it correct. Ben has also got it correct. Okay. And yes, Holly has also got it correct. Well done, everybody. A lot of people got it correct. So the answer is D. So how do we do a 6-figure reference, as some people are asking? So they're looking for the center of the motorway junction. I'm trying to make this as big as possible so you guys can all see now. So we're looking for the center of the motorway junction. Here. Sorry, I'm trying to highlight it, but it wasn't working. Here, as you can see. So therefore, what you do is, because it's 6-figure, but you're only given 2 figures, you then have to kind of figure out what proportion of it is it between 43 and 44. So you can see it's over here. So that's kind of close to 43.5, but it's a bit less. So you can say 433, let's say that number is. And then for this value here, draw a horizontal line, and you can see that's definitely below the 89.5 mark. Let's say that's 89.3 or 89.2. And then your figure is going to always be the horizontal one first. So it's going to be 433,892. The next question that's being asked about is, do we get breaks? We'll do a break later on and we'll do a Kahoot soon as well. So, using figure 6, what is the straight line distance from the building labelled X to the railway station to the west? Shade 1, circle only. So I guess this is using the key that they've given you. You don't have rulers and you can't measure it, so we will skip that question for now. Study figure 7. A photograph of part of the area is shown. I think it's okay. Don't bully the person who asked for breaks because some people need to pray. So it's fair enough. And I think if that makes them more productive, then don't bully them for it. I definitely take breaks often, so don't worry. This is a paper 2019. So you've got a photograph of part of the area shown. Using the figure 6 and figure 7, in which directions was the photographer facing when the photograph was taken? That's an interesting question. So, using figure 6 and figure 7, where is... Okay, that's figure 6. So you've got to use your skills here. I know there's a lot of maps. We'll be doing the Kahoot at 8:15, okay? So this is a really horrible question. So what you want to do is see where the person's standing. So what can we see in the picture? Well, in the picture we can see the Advanced Manufacturing Research Center, and we're seeing which direction was the person facing. So you can see kind of the top of it, and then you can see the A630. So looking at that now in the map, where can we see the A630? This is the A630, and then what did I just say they saw? They saw the Advanced Manufacturing Research Center, which is, where is that? I can't even see. I guess that's not on here, unless I've drawn over it. But the answer is southeast. So not too sure about this one, but I don't think this question is likely to come up again. But it's very odd. It's fine. We'll move on to the next one. Describe characteristics of the center's location. This is a very common question. They always ask about it. Like, what is a characteristic of why is it being located there? So it's important to say... It's important to say any characteristic pretty much. So you can talk about how... Where is it? Sheffield's Advanced Manufacturing. I still can't see it. Oh, it's literally on the side. How blind have I been? It's right there. Okay. Yeah, so it's there. So you can see that there's lots of connections in terms of transport links. You've got the green, the orange line, and there's a lot of space around it, green open space. So you can talk about how there's a lot of transport links. That's probably the most common answer there. So it's very accessible to people. I'm so sorry, I couldn't see that. Okay, let's keep going. Study figure 8. Some information about Sheffield University's Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre suggests how the UK is moving towards a post-industrial economy. So suggest how we're moving towards a post-industrial economy. So here you want to talk about the different sectors that the UK economy is involved in. And let's just have a look at the figure. So the that advanced building was built on land that was reclaimed from coal mining, so brownfield site. That's good, amazing. Combines research and science firms, yep, sustainability and focusing on future technology, and Europe's largest advanced manufacturing park. So looking at some points that we can start to make here. By the way, if you haven't liked the live on YouTube or if it's on TikTok, then make sure you do that. So, how is the UK moving towards post-industrial economy? Well, we used to be based in the primary sector, and then we moved towards secondary and tertiary. You probably only learnt mainly about secondary and tertiary, i.e., secondary is the manufacturing. Primary sector is things like coal mining, gaining and extracting those raw materials, and then tertiary is now the services sector. So it's almost talking about the three different periods of time in which you have the different sectors that the UK has moved to. So suggest how the UK is moving towards it. What strategies are in place that cause to happen? The prediction is in the previous live. So you want to explain that we are moving towards a tertiary and also the quaternary sector as well. So the quaternary sector is more about sciences and technology. So we're moving towards tertiary and quaternary sector, especially if you think about London. London is pretty much completely the financial services in every respect. So it's definitely focusing on that. We're moving away from things like raw material extraction, because not only is this not as profitable anymore, it's not sustainable. Now, linking it back to the figure 8 and how the advanced manufacturing site shows how there's a movement towards post-industrial economy, we can talk about how that figure references future technology, and therefore that is a link to the quaternary sector, and how they're not treating manufacturing as something that is quite prehistoric. They're trying to develop it. On top of that, we're told that it's built on a brownfield site. That is important information there, because if it's built on a brownfield site that has been reclaimed from a coal mining industry, then it's been reclaimed effectively from being used as within the primary sector. So you're linking the sectors together. You're now using primary for something that's more secondary and quaternary. Okay, it's lovely to see everybody here and everybody joining on TikTok and YouTube. But guys, join on YouTube. It's much better than TikTok. Okay. I'm streaming on both at the same time. And we're doing a Kahoot in about 5 minutes. So let's finish this paper, or at least try and get as much done as possible. Okay. You can also talk about specialization as well, how we are focusing on, as the UK, we're focusing on producing a limited range of goods as opposed to producing a lot. Like if you think about China, that is producing, which is a really rapidly developing economy, it's producing a huge range, but for cheaper prices. The UK's strategy is slightly different. They're focusing on the more expensive goods, the services such as entertainment, different subscriptions, football, mostly entertainment that's being exported for higher prices as opposed to a lot for lower. Is my GCSE tomorrow? No, my GCSE isn't tomorrow. I'm not doing GCSEs this year. I did them a while ago. So, using a case study of a low-income country or newly emerging economy, evaluate the effects of economic development on the population's quality of life. So here it's being specific, it's honing in on quality of life and how economic development has impacted that. Only the OGs know where you're from. I'm surprised anyone actually knows where I'm from. I only gave a hint last one of the lives, but yeah, well done for everybody starting to answer this question. So, what you can talk about here, low income countries, so whether you did Brazil, whether you did Nigeria, or whether you did India. Okay, so Rio, Brazil, or India. You can talk about Lagos as well. So a lot you can speak about, and you're talking about the effects on the population's quality of life. I'm not muted. Am I? Can you not hear me? Can the people on TikTok hear me? See, TikTok people can hear me. One sec. Okay, you can hear now. So I don't know what happened. Wow. Okay, you can hear me. Perfect. And moving into more profitable I was really in a flow there as well, everybody. Okay, moving into more profitable sectors. Um, okay, there's increased national and regional wealth. If there's increased national wealth, then that's again leading to the positive multiplier effect. The government has greater tax revenue. And you say, how is that even possible? Well, because if more people are working for these transnational corporations, more people are in the formal economy. Hopefully, you remember what that is. So you've got the informal economy and the formal economy. Informal is when you're literally those type of people who are who are street sellers, who are taxi drivers, who are not paying tax to the government. It's much more common in less developed countries like India. So if more people are working for the formal economy, there's greater government revenue. If there's greater tax and government revenue, they can then do more investments, greater investments on projects that will benefit the standard of living. So that's again the multiplier effect. Yes, you can use Nigeria 100%. So there's a lot of things you could discuss here. There's less chance of disease, etc. Now, you could also evaluate this point, because with your 9 markers, what would really solidify I'm a grade 9 student is if you start to say, however, this point is weak because of the fact that blah blah blah. So you know how I spoke about increased national wealth, the government has greater tax revenue. You could argue, however, in countries, for example, India, Nigeria, all of these countries, there's a level of corruption to that not all of the tax revenue is going towards improving the standard of living and improving the quality of life. Some of it is going towards the greedy politicians. And we can also argue that in the UK as well. Look at how rich Rishi Sunak is. I'm not accusing him of anything, but he is really, really rich. So Those are the things you could possibly say, but again, we're focusing on low-income countries or newly emerging economies. So when you're arguing for an opposite side, you want to say evaluative points. Not point, evaluative points, so that they kind of say this argument is weakened or strengthened because of blah blah blah. Okay. Oh, and it's now time for Kahoot. So we will be doing a Kahoot. I don't know if you want me to finish this paper or we can do a Kahoot. It's up to you. But the Kahoots are legendary. But there are like 500 people here, so I don't know if we'll be able to do a Kahoot. I think there's too many people here. Yeah, Rishi Sunak is richer than the royal family, 100%. He is. I mean, his wife is like richer than everyone. I think we should finish the paper. Yeah, let's finish the paper. Let's do the Kahoot afterwards because I think there's too many people on here as well, so I'm gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do a Kahoot because there's too many. Rishi Sunak is the gold digger. Well, Rishi Sunak was quite rich growing up as well, so it wasn't just that she was rich, to be fair. Okay, now this depends on which one you do. Either question 4, or question 5, or question 6. Fun fact that people learnt about yesterday, I thought when I was doing my GCSEs that we had to do 2, so I went and did 2 for no reason. I guess I was only marked on 1, but yeah, you only have to do 1, depending on whether you do food, energy, or water. Yeah, I'll have to split the Kahoots into like 80 different Kahoots. So yeah, remember you only have to do 1 of the questions from section C. Do not do a me and do more than 1. Don't waste your time. Okay, I don't know what you guys want to do. We'll try and go through as many, but I won't write anything down. I'll just kind of verbally go through all the topics. Running them simultaneously is going to be worse than the history exam today. Well, I don't know how many people can relate to that because most of you do geography, but I can feel the pain in your words. How do you donate to who? Charity? I don't know. I mean, you just give money to charity, really. I don't really understand your question, unfortunately. Okay, we're gonna do a poll to see which one we should answer because everybody's saying different things. So I'm gonna do a poll on the YouTube community tab. If Jude can link it once I've done that, that'll be great. So it will be what should I do? What topic? It'll be food, energy, or water. Statistically, it should be an even split because most people should do a little bit of each. Okay, I've posted it so you can answer that. Donate to me? You don't need to do that. Oh, on TikTok, I don't see anything. I'm so sorry. For everybody who's on TikTok, I can't really see you guys because I'm on YouTube. Sorry. But if you want to choose which one to go over, do answer in the community tab. Okay, so looking at the most common response now, most people said energy, so let's do energy. Okay, so I'm guessing question 3 is compulsory anyway, but let's go to energy, which should be, that's food, that's water, so energy. Okay, let's now do so. Studying figure 14, a graph showing the percentage of energy from renewable sources in the Balearic Islands, a region of Spain. So you've got the graph here, figure 14. Complete figure 14 using the following data. So this is quite obvious. You pretty much just draw the bar chart relative to that. Calculate the difference between 2018 percentage from renewable energy and the 2035 target. You're just finding the difference between the bar charts. Okay, I'll do water after. I understand a lot of people want to do that, but we'll do energy now and then we'll do water, okay? We will do water since most of you are like so thirsty for water anyway. Study figure 15, a newspaper article about energy in the Balearic Islands. I hope I'm saying that right. Balearic Islands turns to sunshine in shift to 100% green energy. The islands rely heavily on expensive and dirty fossil fuels. The local government has a plan to use 100% renewable energy by 2050. Can you not see the screen? I hope you can. New diesel cars will be banned. There will be charging points for electric cars and streetlights, LEDs, light emitting diodes. There are plans of large solar energy farms across the islands. Some people are against these plans. Conservation groups have instead suggested solar panels on rooftops. The Spanish government prefers to expand renewable energy on the mainland and then export it to islands with undersea cables. Is the screen really blurry? That's odd. I mean, let me sort something out. As I said, my internet keeps dipping in and out, so. Okay, you can see the screen, perfect. State 2 alternatives to large solar energy farms suggested. So, quite easy. Alternatives to solar energy. Solar panels on rooftops, as suggested by the conservationist groups, expanding renewables on the mainland. Copy and paste from the figure. Suggest how energy supply issues can lead to conflict. So here you can discuss how there are going to be disputes about the best strategy for supplying energy. This is because people in existing industries see their jobs at risk. Energy costs may increase, which cause conflicts between those who can afford it and those who can't afford it. So it's mainly about the affordability of energy, whether people can actually spend their money on this energy. For example, if there was a movement that every car in the whole of the UK had to be electric, well, they wouldn't do that because people can't afford it, okay? They have to make things and strategies and policies that are realistic in the long run. On top of that, you could argue that there could be independence issues as parts of the country look to leave the mainland, and therefore they do not want to have them being reliant on those areas, especially if you link it to the modern day Ukrainian Russian conflict or even the Palestinian conflict. So with either one of those, they are both contain huge oil providers and even more providers of many different resources. So that chain is being disrupted, that supply chain of energy and electricity. And because a lot of countries are reliant on them, a lot of countries are really experiencing having to change their energies. The chat is moving too fast. Edexcel is quite similar to AQA, I would say. However, with OCR, I think that's a bit more out there. Okay. Extraction of fossil fuels can bring both advantages and disadvantages. Explain the statement that you've studied and name the fossil fuel. Uh, those of you asking for a face reveal, for the OGs that were there was an accident where I accidentally did that. So unfortunately you weren't there. You wouldn't have access to that, thank God. But I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. Okay, so some people did fracking, some people did gas, so it depends whatever one that you've done. Predicted topics I've already mentioned in the previous live, would go over that. Sorry, I'll do the Kahoot in when we're almost done. We're literally on the last page, and then we've got to do water, and then we'll be done. Okay, so yeah, fracking or pretty much any fossil fuel. So oil, gas, shale, coal, those are the common ones. Now you want to mention them. So what are the advantages of it? Well, you've got employment opportunities. People can get jobs, that you can talk about increased energy security, that you do food, whether you do water, whether you do energy, about the security, whether it's reliable. I also said my age in one live, but I don't know which one it was because somebody figured it out. But I'll have no privacy left by the end of this. Fracking is a way of gaining that energy, shale gas and oil as well. So it's just a method of doing it. Yeah. Oh, I was right. Okay, well done. Thank you, Stefania, for that. Yeah, I am 44 years old. Whoever said that, they're spot on. Okay, export opportunities, reliable sources of energy. Yep, the fact that it's reliable, again, linking back to that energy security. Now, disadvantages is quite obvious disadvantages to using fossil fuels. You've got carbon emissions, or pretty much any emissions, full stop. On top of that, you've got the destruction of habitats, the loss of biodiversity, as you are clearing out areas to have access to these fossil fuels. On top of that, it's unsustainable, and therefore these methods are actually, you could argue that they are quite insecure, as in their security. Okay. And that is the last question there. So do you want me to go through water, or do you want to do a Kahoot now? If you want to see my predictions, I did do a YouTube live yesterday, which you can access on the Know All for GCSE channel, where I went through the predicted topics. So go over that. Not only did I just go through them, we went through them in depth, talking about all the possible points. So go over that. Most people I can see are saying go over water. So let's do some quick water revision, and then we'll do a fun Kahoot, okay? Or multiple Kahoots, because I don't know how that's going to work. Where does water start? There's so many of you on the chat. Oh my god. Okay, water. Study figure, we'll do this quickly. Study figure 12. Information about the water crisis in Cape Town, a city in South Africa. Here, restrictions on the amount of water available per person. So 19th of May 2017, 100 litres. 3rd of September 2017, 90 litres. 1st of February 2018, 50 litres. Okay, so it's decreasing. If the water crisis continues, people will be rationed to 25 litres. For comparison, the average Californian usage is 321 litres per day. Calculate the difference between the average Californian usage and restrictions in Cape Town on the 1st of February. So hopefully you can do some simple maths there, not too difficult. The answer, if you manage to figure it out, is 271 litres. Make sure you put the units there. Next, study figure 13, a graph showing how the water restrictions in Cape Town have changed. They're probably going to ask you now to plot them, yet the values that we've found in here onto the graph. Simple bar chart, not too difficult. Next, describe the trend shown in figure 13. Well, overall you can see that as you go forward, the amount of litres of water available per person is decreasing. Now, this is quite interesting. So here, they're not really asking you to explain why. You're asked to describe the trend. So you wanted to say, firstly, that you can see the amount of water available has decreased. It's like a downward sloping trend. And then you want to say people, and then you want to give a figurative comparison. So use the actual figures. So you've got 50 litres here and you've got 100 litres here. So you want to mention the fact that it's only half of what you initially could have. Now, the second mark, you can give some possible reasoning. So, or not reasoning, but just some greater depth of describing it. The amount of water has gone down. It has been a steady decline. People are now allowed only half of what they're allowed. But yeah, just a 2 marker there. Outline one or more likely impacts of water insecurity. So, impacts of water insecurity. What does water insecurity cause? So, you can talk about how there are conflicts. This is probably the most number one issue with water insecurity, because it's kind of the fear, the lack of confidence in individuals, and that is probably the largest indicator and impact of economic decisions based on how people are feeling. That's how a lot of stock markets crash. So when there's a lot of conflict between regions or countries who are sharing water supply as they want to secure control, on top of that, what else is reliant on water on top of households? Well, agriculture is. So food is going to be heavily impacted, crops, etc. Another thing you could discuss is manufacturing output decreases. Water is actually it's not really well known, but water is used a lot when we're thinking about discussing manufacturing. Water is really integral. You can also say disease as well, because if there are reliant on unhealthy sources of water, really, really bad. You're reliant on water that is probably disease ridden or has, mosquitoes in it, which, as you know from biology, should transfer the vector protist disease of malaria. The geography paper 2 predictions is literally the live before this. So you should be able to access that. Okay. A large-scale water transfer scheme can bring both advantages and disadvantages. Explain what the statement means using an example that you've studied. So you have to link a specific water scheme that you've studied. This live should still be helpful to people who do Edexcel. I know a lot of the topics cross over And also, last year, people used my videos for Edexcel, and it turns out that some of them were quite helpful. So it should be beneficial for you guys. Okay, so this is a very similar question to the energy question. So whatever water scheme you have, it's going to be very specific. So whatever you can discuss. And then we're thinking about advantages and disadvantages. This is a very nice question because it's kind of very intuitive. You literally kind of listing all of the advantages with a large scale water transfer scheme, and then disadvantages. Advantages include there's increased access to water for agriculture and industry. They are therefore more reliable industries, and therefore more investment will go into that, furthering economic development. On top of that, the water is going to be cheaper because there's a greater supply of something. That means the price of it is going to go down. If there's a limited supply of something, for example, diamonds are rare, they're going to be a high price for it. On top of that, because of these large-scale water transfer schemes, that also creates lots of job opportunities for individuals who work in that sector. And finally, you can also discuss how the water is clean. And if you have access to clean, potable water, that improves the lifespan of individuals, locals, and improves the morale. Disadvantages of a large-scale water transfer scheme: there's obviously going to be lots of high economic costs for the construction of the water transfer scheme itself. On top of that, there's going to be an environmental consequence. There's a lot of disturbance to local habitats, and it has quite especially if you're relying on hydroelectric power, more sustainable energy resources. You don't have to do water and energy, you only choose one to do, okay? Whether you do food, whether you do water, whether you do energy, do not do a me. I accidentally did multiple in the exam. You only need to do one of them. We'll be doing the Kahoot in a second. Just need to talk about a little more disadvantages. So you can also discuss the disruption to communities, building these large, perhaps unaesthetic, unappealing. The community is always going to have something to say about it. And on top of that, there's always rise to conflict over ownership of it. Okay, well done everybody. So we've done we now start the Kahoot. For everybody on TikTok, I'm sorry, you've got to go because we'll be doing the Kahoot on YouTube. So you can join the YouTube live now. I'm going to end that because it will probably absolutely demolish my computer if I'm streaming and trying to do like 12 Kahoots. So thank you for joining me on TikTok. If you want to join the Kahoot, come onto YouTube and I will be organizing that. But thank you for joining and see you TikTok later. Okay. Everybody's trying to get relationships on my chat. Yeah, I know. I'm going to literally have to have 50 Kahoots because every Kahoot that I have only allows for 20 people. So maybe we're going to have to make a blooker instead. We may have to do a blooker, I think, which might be better. Let's see what we can do. Did you guys? Wow, I'm reading the chat. The Kahoot's not going to be too long. So, yeah, blooker has a limit for 60 people. I already gave you a hint for where I'm from, so if you missed the live, you missed your opportunity, unfortunately. I love how you guys are so intrigued. I'm surprised that you actually care. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have that. Thank God. And either way, I would not publicly do that. We'll do a Blooket and we'll do a Kahoot. We'll do as many as possible, okay? Is the live suitable for Edexcel? Yeah, it is probably. I mean, I don't know what the difference is between Edexcel A and Edexcel B. There was a student who used my videos for Edexcel A and it worked. I'm not sure about Edexcel B. On my Instagram, My Instagram is available. It's just no for GCSE, but I'm not really active on that either. I'm not a social media type of person. Okay, I'm finding a booker for you guys. Hold on. Okay. Geography paper 2. I found a good booker we can do. That's not the right spec. You can send my Instagram because it's public, I think, anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Don't worry, I won't be annoyed. It's on my thing, but I'm not gonna actually reply. I'm never on Instagram. Okay, we'll do the gold quest. So, um, I'll do multiple Blookets and I'll do multiple Kahoots. So there'll always be one for you guys to join. I'm gonna try and close the tabs. So, give me a sec. Okay. I'm gonna share my tab now. So there's the first join link if you want to join that Blooket. Oh, I'm doing multiple, so do not worry if you don't get in the first one. There will be so many because I know there's going to be a lot of people trying to get in. And I'll host multiple so you guys can join that instead. Wow, you guys are fast. Okay. Okay, that is the limit for that one. So join this one instead if you're unable to join that. And I'll start that game. Oh, why is it not letting me start the game? The link from yesterday's video, it should be available. It's literally go on to lives and it'll be there. Sorry guys, whoever was on the first look, it didn't work, so I'm gonna have to do that again. I think Blooker has a lot of problems sometimes. So just here's another one you can join. As I said, there'll be multiple games. Don't rush to all join one. Okay, sorry if you weren't able to join that one. You can join this one instead. I'll copy the link onto the chat. Each of them, I think, are 7 minutes long. So sorry if you weren't able to join that one. I'm going to do another one on the screen. They're all the same quiz, by the way, so don't worry, you're not missing out. There's another one. I don't know how it's getting full up really quickly, but Okay, for some reason that that Blooker isn't working, so do this one instead. I don't know why that's doing that. Sometimes I'm trying to start games and they don't work, so you're gonna have to try again. Sorry guys, there's constant issues with this. It's not letting me start the game. I'm gonna try one more time for you. I'm so sorry for the hassle. Please join that one. I think what I have to do is just before it gets to 50, start the game. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna do another game for those of you who didn't join those ones. This is look at game 5, I think, or 4. I'll copy the link. If you haven't been able to get any of the other games. Interesting, you guys are doing really well as well. I can see you getting a lot of questions correct. We'll do a Kahoot as well. This is just for the majority of the people to get into these games. Okay, and there's just one more blocklet if any of you haven't been able to join any of them yet. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocklet games happening. So you can do the maths. There's 60 people in each one. That's a lot. So if you guys win this, that'll be impeccable. And we're going to do a Kahoot alongside this so that everyone gets a chance to place at least something. These are all geography paper 2 related. So you can give me some feedback on the questions. I hope this is helpful. This video is mostly for AQA and maybe to an extent Edexcel. I'm not too sure about other examples. You're going to have to check the spec for those, your relevant specifications, and see. If you watch all of my geography videos, that might be helpful to look at that instead. Okay. Winner does not get my number. That was not true. Not happening. You guys can contact me via so many means. You do not need that. Wow, there's still a lot of you who still want to play, so I'll keep going until everybody is in some sort of game. Yeah, boundaries. Thank you, Ari. Okay, don't worry if you haven't been able to get into any of the 10 blookets occurring right now. You can still get into one more. We're doing Blooket because there are so many people on the live, and Blooket has 60 people per game, whereas Kahoot is only 20, so that's why. I remember once when we were doing the Google Meet, that was the most horrendous thing I've ever done, and I'm never going to do that again with you guys. That was scarring. Oh wow, people on millions already. That's crazy. My ethnicity, I gave people a clue. So, um, because I think in one live, people started guessing and they put different ethnicities in the chat, and I was like, oh, it's one of them. So, if you know, you know. Okay, I don't know how long is left of the other games, but you guys are all doing really, really well. Swapping. I guess this game's more about luck as opposed to Kahoot. I don't know what Sigma means, but if it's a good thing, thank you. If it's not, no thank you. Okay, we'll do a Kahoot now, because we've got like 14 different blookets open. Although if any of you who still want to join, you can try and join this one. You can't guess somebody's ethnicity from how they sound. Well, actually, you probably could, but you can't guess mine. But I don't sound that obvious. The Blooket game is probably about 6 minutes long, or 7 minutes long, so it's not too long. And yeah, I do sound white. That's so true. I actually do sound white, self-admittedly, but I'm not. Okay. I'm surprised none of the Blookets have finished yet, but okay. Just trying to find a good Kahoot for those of you who don't want to do any of these other ones. It's 70 questions. Wow. Okay. Ours finished. Somebody's finished. Okay. Well, if you're Uh, game has finished. You can either join the Blooket that's on screen now, or you can join this Kahoot. So I'll copy the link to share that. Which game's finished? I can't see. Oh, it's this one. 2 games have occurred. Okay. 3 games are finished, I think. Okay, if don't worry, if you weren't able to join that Kahoot, you can join this one here. I will start that game. Say hi in my language. Hello. That's the next Kahoot. I'm from continent, I'll give you that, Asia. But I thought most of you knew that I'm from Asia, somewhere in there. Okay, that game is full up, so join this game if you are unable to join that one. I've copied the link. Okay. Well, there's a lot of the games are filling up really quickly, so don't worry, I'll just keep starting new ones so you guys can still join them. I think I prefer Kahoots as well because I can keep track of who's at the top and interact with you guys a bit more. Here's the link to the new Kahoot. Okay, that game's full up, so I have to start a new one. Mauve is at the top of one of the games. SJ is at the top of that game. Don't worry if the games are getting full up, I'll just start a new one, so it's okay. Don't cry. Wow, it's already full up, okay. SJ is still at the top. Oh no, SH is at the top. Mauve is still at the top with an answer streak of 3. KSI is winning that one. B is winning that game. There's another Kahoot here. Yep, don't worry, I'll keep making the Kahoots. It's really annoying how they only allow 20 people in. That's just ridiculous. Unless I upgrade, which I have not the money to do. Okay, player limit reached. Join this Kahoot if you haven't been able to join the other ones. Okay, some of the... Oh. I want to know where most of you guys are from. Are most of you guys from... I think most of you guys will be Asia because Asians have a higher inclination to study. But I'm not being... Actually, to be fair, most immigrants do. There are some studious people from all sorts of backgrounds, but talking about generics here. Merseyside. Oh, interesting. Isn't that where one of the examples are in geography? Oh wow, that Kahoot's full up. Okay, I'll start another one. Okay, a lot of you are English. Don't feel out of place. Europeans as well. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Any sort of effectively immigrant. I think it's a good mix actually, which is quite nice to hear from everyone's different backgrounds. West Yorkshire. Wow, we're reaching all sorts of north-south divides. Mauritius, nice. Some tropical areas. Okay, the Blookets have to have finished by now. Has anyone else's Blookets finished? I don't do GCSE business, unfortunately. Sorry about that. These games are getting too full up too quickly. It's weird because it says up to 40 players and then it only lets me do 20. Yeah. Thank you, Vinitha. I hope I'm saying your name right for coming, and thank you for everybody who's attended as well. It's been so lovely to have you here. Winner gets grade 9s in their exams. What about that? That sounds like a plan. It is really chill, isn't it? And the fact that I do this every day, I'm getting so close to you guys. I don't want you guys to leave when you do your exams. There's been about like 90 people who come to most of the lives every day, but this live has been very busy with like what 400. I'm not related to Mr. Everything English. I feel like if I was, he would be annoyed that I was starting a whole YouTube channel. But there's another Kahoot starting. I love you guys as well. Yeah, I am related to Jude. That's 100% true. Do you want me to end the Blooket? Thing is, once I end the Blooket, there'll be like 60 people wanting to do Cahoots. If you want to leave the Blooket, that's okay, and you can join the Cahoots. They're starting pretty much every 5 seconds. So, ooh. Oh, I really need to upgrade this Kahoot. Why do I only have 20 people playing? Let me see if I can upgrade this. Ooh. You want to see the results of Blooket? I mean, can you not see them? Oh, well, they keep changing, so there's no point me saying them. I'm gonna try and add multiple. Hmm. Okay, let's see what we can do. Sorry about those people whose Kahoot games are paused. I'm just trying to unpause them all now. I think autoplay. Oh wow, I can do autoplay. That will help speed things up. Give me a second, everyone. My computer's about to explode from like so many different Kahoot games. I have like literally got 36 tabs open. Yeah, every viewer is my cousin because I do love you all. Jude, what a nice metaphor. Okay, let me see if I can upgrade. Up to 2,000 participants, that's what I need, but I can't afford that. It's too expensive. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to just keep doing multiple Kahoots. Yeah, I'll close Blooker. Okay, we'll start that game. I'll start another Kahoot, don't worry. And I'm going to try and put them on autoplay as well so that they work by themselves. That would be amazing. If anybody did want to play Blooker, I can open another game if you want. I just thought most people didn't want to do that, so Sorry, I'll be starting another Kahoot in a second. Another Blooket. Okay, I'll try and do another Blooket. Yes, get me to 100K subscribers, guys. I'll do another Blooket. If you want to join the Kahoot, you can join that one. Okay, we'll start that game. Okay, that game is full, so there's going to be a Blooket game starting. If you want to join that, I will copy the link and put it in the chat. If anybody wants to join the Blooket, you can join it now. It is on the screen. I will copy the join link. Are the Kahoot games not starting? They should be starting. I put them on autoplay. So. All of the other Blookets have been stopped, so this is just a new one starting. I'll copy the join link. The other old Blookets are all ended, actually, so you shouldn't still be playing them. Okay. Skibidi Sigma's at the top of that game. Let's look at the other games. Yusuf is at the top there. Well done. 16 answers in a row. P is at the top there. Oh, now Hama Kurin is at the top there. MK Traps is at the top there. You guys got some interesting names. Coco's at the top here. Oh no, now Cazzle Dazzle is at the top. In terms of the Kahoots, you've got Shelley, Joe overtaking Shelley with an answer streak of 3. Well done. Amin with an answer streak. Still spaces for you to join the Blooker if you want. And if you want me to start another Kahoot, just let me know and I will. There is a new Blooker that's on screen now. You should be able to access it. I did send the link, I can send it again. However, if you want to play a Kahoot, tell me about that. Start another Kahoot. Okay, I'll start another Kahoot if those of you wanted to do that. Matt at the top of this game, well done. Just seeing who's at the top of the different games. Terry Mize at the top there. MK Traps is still at the top. This game has reached its player limit, so if more people want to play another Kahoot, it's starting. We're going to end the games in 10 minutes, so make the most of this, guys. This is a really fun live. It's lovely to have you all here. Okay, that game has got the maximum amount of people in it. So if you didn't get to join the other Kahoot games, you can join this one now. Thank you, Mahim, for asking how my day has been. It has been amazing. And this makes it even better being here with you guys. So thank you. I hope your guys' day has been good. This was revision. We did a lot of revision. And we're now doing like hundreds of Kahoots. So Yusuf is still at the top of that game. Well done. MK Traps is at that game. Are the Kahoots useful? Someone is asking. Amin is at the top there. Well done. Him is at the top of this game. Okay, that game has reached its limit. Start another one. Yeah, we'll create another one. There are a lot of games. There's like there's 73 questions in each Kahoot. It's quite a lot. Okay, since there's a lot of you here, if any of you want to join a Blooket, you can join this one here because the Kahoot is getting full up quite quickly. Again, it's on GCSE geography content, so it should be quite useful. I'll make the link available. Thank you for sacrificing your time to help. No problem. I love helping you guys. JS Wiz winning that game. Well done. A winning that game. Matt P at the top there. MK Trap still winning. Well done, everybody. Yusuf still at the top. Let's see if anybody can change this. You've got 5 minutes left to prove it. There's still space in the Blooket if you want to play that. There are 73 questions. Do another Kahoot. Sure, if my computer can handle it. I think this sound is driving me crazy. I can hear like 40 Kahoots going at once, and I can't mute every one of them. I know it's the longest Kahoot ever, but don't worry, you're not going to have to do all of the questions. I'll probably end the games prematurely and announce the winners. There's another Kahoot there. Make sure you like this live and you subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So let's see if we can get there. Jude, thank you for being such a lovely mod, and thank you, Questionable, and everybody else on there. You guys are doing an amazing job. I know it's difficult to handle a lot of people. Thank you for everyone who's subscribed. Thank you, Christopher. I know it's quite a long Kahoot, isn't it? That Kahoot is filled up, so you can join this one instead. We're going to end the games in 2 minutes, guys, so try your best to get through them and be at the top. So top 3 of every single game are going to be announced. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining that game. That's the last game. I'll shout you all out. 1 minute left, guys. Try your absolute best to see how far you can go. Six people from one school on the chat. Wow, I'm honoured. I don't know. Where are you based? London? Essex? Kent? Yorkshire? Okay, it's 9:30, everybody. Based in Stoke. Oh, wow. That's like one of those areas where I've heard about, but I've never actually thought about it. Okay, I'm going to stop all of the Kahoots now, chronologically, so whichever was the first Kahoot. So it's time for results. I'm going to end the first Kahoot that we started. So you guys got through 59 questions. Epic. First place, CBD Sigma. Second, V. Third, number 1. Well done, you guys. Next game. I know it takes a long time for the questions to load because it's automatic. You've got Matt first here. Well done. MOV second. And Lucas third. Really good job. For this game number 3 of Kahoot, which I'm not sharing. Just realised. 1 second. Oh. Well done, you guys. Mark, Neil, Mayor, SH. Okay, and for this game, which is game number 4, the results First place B, second place Moscow, and third place Tree 81. Okay, well done to you guys. Ending game number 5. First place Terry Ma, well done. Second place Kim, Mac, third place Henna. First place Yusuf, second place 1234, third place Mike. Well, this is going to take a long time. First place No Pancake GCSE, second Hamar Karin, third place P. Well done. My name is still better Noah for GCSE, what can I say? I'm trying to end the Kahoots. It's taking me a bit of time because there's a lot of them going on. First place Yusuf, again, second place H, third place Big C. I'm surprised that there's 2 Yusufs who've won, but well done anyway, nonetheless. It's a good day for the Yusufs. Here, this game, which is like, must be game 10 by now. First place Dan Hutt, second Isha, third R. First place MK Traps, second La, and third Adore. Well done. I'm trying to end this game here, but another question started. Thank you for everybody who's being patient and waiting for me to end all of the games. First place Liv, second place Lils, third place Kazzle Dazzle. Well done to you 3, and well done to everybody playing, of course. For this game, first place Amin, second place Rollis, and third place Far. Well done. This game, we're getting through. First place Matt, second place him, and third place Kedge. How was my day? It was good, thank you, Jude. Thank you for asking. How was your day? It was quite fun. I mean, probably the lives are the highlight of my day. It's quite fun to engage with you guys. First place A, second place TK, third place Sammy. Well done to you 3 and everybody else, of course. Don't worry, I'm going to end everybody's games eventually. We're getting through them. First place Winthys, second Zara, and I couldn't see the third. It went away too quickly. Ness, I think. And the results here. First place JS Wiz, second place Nakatron, third place Eva. Well done to you guys. For this game, first place Blue, second place Chunky, third place Ishan. Well done, you guys. I want to appreciate everybody's hard work. That's why I'm going through these. So thank you for everybody who's being very patient. Oh, the games keep starting. So for this game, first place Dawn, second place Drake, Third place, Kay. Well done. Dawn is such a nice name. For this game, first place, Shelley. Second place, Av. Third place, Yuzi. And the question started there, so I have to wait. Goodbye, Matt. Thank you for joining. Okay, for this game, you've got first place Mason, second place your mama, third place Hanny. Well done. People are still trying to enter this game, but it's full up. That's why they can't join, but we're ending it anyway. For this one, you've got first place Issa, second place Max, third place Jake. Well done to you guys, and that is the last Kahoot. So well done. For the Blookets, I don't really know how to end them, but you've got M at the top for that game. For this one, you've got May at the top for this one, and you've got Goat at the top of this game. Well done to everybody who is playing. That is the end of the Geography Live. I'm still here if anybody wants to just chat and debrief about anything, not necessarily related to geography, but it's okay if you want to talk to me. If not, thank you so much for attending. It was lovely speaking to you guys. You guys are going to cook the exam, quote. So don't worry about it. And tell me how it was afterwards. Yes, I hope I get recognized as well. But obviously it's going to take some time, so. My name? I'm surprised you don't know my name already. Actually. I have told you guys before, but now you don't know. I'm going to keep it a secret, so. What are the predicted topics? I'll try and get that document up if you want to see that. Let me get it up because I know it takes effort for you to go and click on the other ones. So, because I'm not a 4-year-old where I'm going to be saying words for you. I'm trying to find the document. Thank you, Minal. I'm glad you found these helpful. That's lovely to hear. I can't find the doc. Oh no, it got deleted. Yeah, I'm 44 years old. I am. Definitely. I'll go back to the video and you can screenshot that. Jude is my cousin. Of course, Jude is my cousin. Okay, so here is the link. 1 second. Everybody, here is the link to the video where you can access it. Access the list of predictions. I don't teach at a school. I'm not actually a formal teacher. I'm a past student. So I did my GCSEs recently to an extent, a couple of years ago, and then I got all nine, so I decided to start a YouTube channel going over different content because I realized that resources, there aren't many for a lot of subjects. So that's why I decided to make them for all of them. Am I a gamer? No, I do not play games. Am I going to do health and social care? I don't think that's part of the geography spec, or is it another subject? Thank you. I should be a teacher. Did the live stream start? I don't know. We've only been here for 2.5 hours, so not too sure. Do I need an edit for my channel? I don't really know what that means. Does that mean a short video? If so, yes, sure. Make some short videos and share them. I want this resource to get around to as many people as possible. Thank you, Jude. What was my favourite subject? It was... I'm going to be generic and probably say maths. And I liked art as well, but I didn't do the GCSE. But I really did like art. I did engineering, which was quite fun. No, I'm not actually cousins with Jude. That was just a joke. What did I do for A level? I did maths, further maths, chemistry, economics, and then physics AS. There'll be an engineering video for those of you who do engineering, so thank you, Nia T. I appreciate that. What sixth form did I go to? I'm not going to say, am I? Yeah, my name is Noel for GCSE. Like on my birth certificate, it's No Waffle, and then GCSE is my surname. So thank you, Dreams. Okay, it's nice to see what plans you guys have. Maths, biology, and chemistry. I remember that was a really common combination in my school. I'm doing economics for A levels. So what resources did you use to revise? I used Econ plus STAR. Also in this summer coming up, I'm going to be doing what's it called? I'm going to be doing loads of A level videos so that you guys don't leave me, and you can use those videos as well. And some of my friends are wanting to do some A level videos as well. So yeah, I'm going to do an English live. You know what? The fact that 185 of you have decided to stay just for me to talk, that's so amazing. Thank you. This is how I see the chat, by the way. I've shown you on my screen. That's what it looks like from my end. So it comes a bit later. Goodbye, everyone who's leaving. Maths, physics, computer science. Okay. Very studious. Wow. Yeah, my mods have been there since day one. I remember Jude being there since day one. Geography, economics, French, politics. French is an interesting one. Wow. A diss track on Mr. Everything English. That's such a good idea. I should do that. That would actually get so much popularity. But I'm not going to sing. So. Yeah, it's finished. You can leave if you want. This is just for, we should call it after hours chat. Wind down. Jude is doing a very good job. Jude has been here since day one, so of course I won't kick him out. I can rap for a diss track. Oh. Your English teachers hate Mr. Everything English. I wonder. Wow. That's interesting. I'm surprised that teachers hate him because he's helping people's grades go up. So I think that he's just helping them realize that how to teach properly. What did I get for A levels? A stars, and then in AS physics it was an A. How do I teach so many subjects? Everybody asks me that, and I'm always like, because the same way you guys are expected to know all of them, you guys know all 12 subjects. You're even better than your teachers. So just like that, that's how I do it. Teachers can't teach, they aren't able to give you enough attention to each student. Exactly, that's what I found. I mean, not for all teachers. Some teachers are genuinely quite passionate and you can see that. But when I was in school, I suffered from really bad teachers, which is why it was quite shocking for me to get top grades because I didn't come from a school that would get that. Top tips for geography. I would recommend actually going into my TikTok and watching my top tips for geography because they actually were quite good for the exam. So they showed like things like map skills, common mistakes. Make sure you read the bottom of the page. I would say maybe do your 9 markers first, but some people prefer to just go straight in and do as much as they can. I'm passionate. Thank you. You've got to be. Otherwise, how can I expect you guys to be engaged if I'm not engaged? Your science teacher puts slides and reads from it. Oh my gosh, my teacher who used to teach us physics used to do that. Yeah, I'll do an English live tomorrow. What exam tactics did you use? I clearly didn't use many because what was I thinking answering multiple section C's for no reason? I didn't really have a good tactic apart from just rush. My handwriting was really bad, so I'm surprised the examiner could read. Goodbye, everybody who's leaving. It was lovely having you here. Yeah, there is a not case study, an example on a company called the Unicorn Group in Northern Ireland, and effectively, it's not that much you need to know. It's just about them being sustainable, about them having 100% of their energy generated from renewable resources, and them having a good way to distribute all of the wealth. Oh, thank you for subscribing. I like the compliments. Every time you put such sweet things in the compliment, it genuinely makes me happy. Don't pull an all-nighter, guys. Go to sleep. You need to answer section A, section B, and from section C, you get a choice of three topics. You've got a first question you have to answer, and then you've got 3 topics, and that's based on what you studied, whether you studied food, water, or energy, and you then choose that. Thank you, Joe. I'm going to miss you guys, but don't worry. Next year, I'm still going to be doing videos, and I think what we're going to do is a reunion sort of thing. So every year, because I only started doing live streams this year, so you guys are the first kind of year for lives. So you're the OGs. Because last year it was just about helping some times during the half term, but this is all the time. So 10.9K subscribers. That's amazing. Thank you for telling me. Oh wow. Can you believe it? Last year, exactly last year, we were on 1K, only 1,000. So look how much we're improving. For the topics you need to know, go on to the live that I will copy and paste it again. Go on to this video here. That has got some predicted papers. Not predicted papers, sorry, predicted topics. I hope we reach 100K. Thank you for subscribing. You can stay subscribed because there'll be A-level videos as well. Am I going to collab with anyone? I don't know, because I don't know if other YouTubers know that I exist because I'm quite small relative to them. So that's a good question. That's a good point. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if they know I exist. especially as most of them are all teachers. So it's kind of odd that I'm just like a student. Thank you, Minal. Collab with free science videos. That guy does not respond to anything. I used to email him um, when I was doing GCSE task, and he would not reply. So I don't know what. He's old and he is a teacher, so fair enough. What's my motivation every day to do lives? Am I not tired? Mm, no, I think it's. I don't know. It's just fun. Like genuinely, I enjoy it. I like spending time helping you guys. And the fact that like there's hundreds of you guys waiting to for me as well, that's another motivation. Do I know how to speak my Asian language? Yes, I do. Oh, thank you, Remy. I was a GCSE student. Thank you. I'm not gonna say a sentence in my Asian language. I don't wanna get I will get instantly known. Oh, don't worry, the video is only too long because we did lots of cahoots, but you only need to watch the main part of it, so don't worry. Yeah, the live is done, don't worry. We're just chatting and procrastinating. Okay, everybody. I like the suspense that I'm leaving, so I'm gonna keep you bring. You know what will happen one day in the future when you're like 20 years old? You will eventually hear about me, and then you'll see my face through and all of that stuff. But not today, unfortunately. Yeah, no, 44 was a joke. I'm not actually 44. Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm gonna end the live here just for the sake of you guys getting sleep. Please don't do all-nighters. It's amazing to have you here, and the fact that we got so many subscribers today is amazing. Um, so I'm gonna see you tomorrow. We'll be doing an English live. Yeah. Okay. See you guys later. Thank you for joining and thank you for staying till the end. I love you guys so much and see you tomorrow. Tell me how